Good morning. Good morning, and welcome to Wednesday. Grey, dreary, chilly. Typical British weather, really. But spring is springing. Spring is springing in the garden. So we've actually got tulips ready to flower in the garden, which is fab. And the willow are all out, and it's all very exciting, and the energy is all there. But it is grey and dreary. But there you go. That's how it is. Good morning, Charlie. Good morning, Jackie. Good morning, Amanda. Good morning, Karen. Good morning, Claire. Good morning, Jane. Lots of lovely people here already. Welcome, welcome. General theme today. We'll see where it takes us. Good morning, Trudy. Good morning, Karen. Welcome, everyone. To March, middle of March. What have we got? So if you missed MoonCon 24, it was epic. No other word for it. It was epic. Good morning, Karen. Good morning, Emma. Good morning, Jackie. Despondent about the weather, constant rain. Garden's too muddy. Yeah, we looked yesterday and thought, oh, that needs doing, that needs doing. Oh, yeah, but it's just too wet out there. So yes, MoonCon 24 last weekend was epic. 3 hours. Amazing speakers, Mara Starling, Morgan Daimler, Jenna Telendrew. We had a fabulous panel at the end of it as well. It was excellent. If you missed it, it is there on replay on the Moonbooks Publishing Facebook page and on the Moonbooks Publishing YouTube channel. Do have a watch and a listen. The speakers were just fantastic. So much amazing information, and all on the Celtic pantheons. So it was very interesting. So do catch up with that if you missed it. Good morning, Susan. Good morning, Lolly. Claire, saw it. You saw. Get my words out. Saw it. You did a good job. Yeah, the speakers were absolutely fantastic. Emma, like your outfit, pretty necklace. Thank you. It's the. I'm not even going to try and pronounce it. It's the Avalon symbol from. It's on the well lid of the Chalice Well Garden. It's a Latin one. I can never pronounce it. Good morning, Eve. Good morning, Sue. Good morning, Mandy. Steve, don't think you can see where it goes with this lot. Anything could happen. You are correct. And that's what I love about it. Possibilities, endless. So yes, MoonCon was fantastic, and just amazing amounts of people watching live. It was fantastic. But it's all there for replay if you want to catch up with it. And so wonderful to hear all of the Welsh names being pronounced properly. I realised I'd been pronouncing pretty much all of them wrong. But there you go. What else have we got? We have a Kitchen Witch ritual, online ritual this weekend, this Saturday evening. Do have a look at the Kitchen Witch Coven Facebook page for more details. It will be streaming live to that Facebook page, but also to the Kitchen Witch YouTube channel. Details are there. Thank you very much. It's all about growth, this ritual. If you are interested in online workshops, I'm running several with the College of Psychic Studies. One this weekend is on Sun Magic, but there are several. Check out their website. I will be giving a talk on Sulis. First time I've given a talk on Sulis, so that'll be interesting, at the Wild Witchcraft Conference. Details of that can be found via my website on the events page. Oh, what else we got? April, we've got the Wandering Witches Fair as well in Horndean. So tons and tons of stuff going on. Do have a look at my website on my events page and the Kitchen Witch website on the What's On page. All of the events are all listed on there, and all the details, and the little little behind the scenes fairy has put all the links up. So thank you for that. Good evening, Sephora. Good morning, Nita from Formarks, not far from me at all. Good morning, Colin from Llanelli. See, I am not pronouncing that correctly. raining. Yeah, it's not actually raining here, but it's very grey. We've had so much rain. So there you go. Thank you, Pixie. Now, where's my tea? Today, no subject today, just to ask a witch. Got any questions about witchcraft, about me, about what I do, about paganism, anything really? Throw the questions in the comments and we'll see where we go. Good morning, Angela, from a bright and breezy France. Yeah, it is. We've got quite a lot of quite breezy here too. I am looking forward to proper spring. I must admit, I love autumn and winter, but when this time of the year comes round, I am looking forward to the new energy of spring. Good morning, Sasha. Good morning, Kerry, from rainy Llanelli. Ebony was out and in 2 seconds. Yeah, Eric sort of gets to the door and says, yeah, do you know what? Now wait. Emma had constant flood warnings. Yeah, unfortunately there's quite a few of those across the country, isn't there? Yes, so much rain. So much. I'm looking out the window at the sky. That's why I'm looking up there, watching the seagulls. Love seagulls. We are very lucky to be very close to the ocean. We don't often get seagulls land in the garden, but they sit on the roofs of the houses, and there's several of them flying about at the moment. And they are so noisy. It's lovely. Aaron, dull and damp in Bedford. It's not inspiring, is it? Not inspiring at all. So let's have a look. Right, let's get the first one up. Sephora, what's everyone doing for the equinox? Do you know, I think all of the smoke detectors were all put in at the same time, and all the batteries are running out at the same time as well. What's everyone doing for the equinox? Well, I'm waiting for the weather to cheer up, actually. I know. The dates are on the calendar and the equinox is quite a fixed thing. But I struggle to celebrate spring if I can't see it or feel it. So I'm waiting for the weather to change. We have a family dinner, get together, bit of a, nice meal and chocolate eggs, obviously. I like spring. For me is the start of all the plans, of all the projects, putting all the inspiration and the ideas together. But if anybody is doing anything particular, pop them in the comments and we'll get them up. Nita, can you talk a little bit about hedge riding? Well, I've just finished a book on hedge riding. Hedge Witch and the Art of Hedge Riding will be published by Phoenix Flames Publishing, hopefully at some point this year. Hedge riding is, I have done a full talk on hedge riding, so have a look on my YouTube channel. There is me chatting about it. It is stepping into the other world. It's not just meditation. It goes beyond meditation. It's more akin with journeying. You need to have a plan, really. You don't hedge ride just because you want to relax or because you want to, do something interesting. You go hedge riding for a reason. You literally step over the hedge being the boundary between the worlds. It is the liminal space. You step over that hedge into the other world to connect with deities, with spirit guides, animal, human, the world of fairy, all sorts of otherworldly contacts and connections. But you need to have a plan, really. You need to decide why you're going. It might be for healing. It might be to seek insight for something. I go to meet plant spirits. I go to meet animal spirits as well. It is a bit of a process, and you do have to go beyond meditation. You do have to go into trance. But it is fascinating. I would not recommend it to anyone that's new to the pathway. You need to know how to handle yourself in the other world. It is fascinating. There are various methods of doing it, all included in my book. But have a look on my YouTube channel. There is a talk about hedge riding that I give. It is a fascinating thing to work with. But not for the inexperienced, that's for sure. But it's the three worlds. It is the underworld, the middle world, and the upper world. you choose or are drawn to step into one of those three each time you journey. It's fascinating. Have a look on the YouTube channel. There is one. And keep an eye out for the book as well, obviously. Good morning, Debbie. Jane, here's a question. I've lost the will to do spells. I know it's not healthy to keep doing spells for the sake of it, but I find it hard to put my mind to even when something needs doing. Okay, two kind of things there. Interesting. What makes you say it's not healthy to keep doing spells for the sake of it? I think doing spells is a good way of experiencing them, of learning them, what works and what doesn't work. When I don't do spells every day, I don't even do spells every week sometimes. But I think the more you do, the more you experience, you learn from. I guess it depends what you're doing them for. If you're doing a spell every day to bring you money, probably going to get very tiresome. I think there are some witches that very, very rarely do spells at all. I would say don't worry about it, because if it's not meant to be, it's not meant to be. There are lots of other things to keep you occupied. I don't know. Has anyone else found that they've lost the will to do spells? I guess it depends what you mean. As a kitchen witch, whenever there's an issue or problem, my first step is to sort it out in the mundane. The spell working for me is kind of a last resort. It's a backup kind of thing, a plan B, if you will. I guess that's the hand. Hello, little fairy. 6'3" fairy. What have I got today?
Something with honey in it.
Good, because I have got tickly.
I heard a rumour that you wanted a cup of tea.
Did you?
Well,
You must be psychic.
They call me the psychic fairy.
Anyway, I guess it depends on how often you think you should be doing spells. There is no number. There is no, okay, I've got to do a spell a day, otherwise I'm not a witch. Or I've got to do a spell a week, otherwise I'm not a witch. I sometimes go for weeks and weeks and weeks without, months even sometimes, without doing a spell. I guess it depends how you feel about it. Do you think you should be doing more spells because that's what you feel you should be, or because you think being a witch means doing lots of spells? Breathe. I think relax, and when the real need for one comes up, you'll fall back into it. But there's no gauge, there's no list that says you have to do this many or you can't do that many. There's no set to it, I don't think. If you really feel, if something important comes up, I'm sure you will. You'll get back on the horse. Don't worry about it. It's coming up for daylight saving time. Good time to change the smoke alarm back to that. We're going to have to do them all today. Good morning, Paul. Good morning, Steve. Nita, noticed your chalice well pendant. I have the earrings. I did an Avalon course, and I received this pendant as a congratulation gift for completing the first level. But it is indeed the lid of the chalice well. Chalice well. It's called something, and it's Latin, and I can never pronounce it. Anyway, this is Jackie. Not feeling spring. Easter way too early. Perpetually confused. I'm perpetually confused anyway. Even more so today. I feel completely zoned out today. No, spring. It's not ready. Spring's not ready yet. But Kalak is still fighting back. She's still holding on for dear life. Good morning, Jalala. Angela, spring is definitely coming. We saw our first bat out of hibernation last night. That's very cool. Good luck with the weather changing. I don't mess with the weather. I don't tend to mess with it. I know one witch in particular who is incredibly good with weather spells. I don't tend to mess with it because I kind of think It's going to be whatever it's going to be. And who am I to mess about the weather? Might upset it for other people that really need it. So don't tend to mess with the weather. Karen, recent meditation took me to the Kelech, but she had a massive cauldron of knowledge. Normally associate Ceridwen with the cauldron of knowledge. Any thoughts? I think there are crossovers with some of it. The Kelech works with the cauldron too. And she is wisdom. She is ancient wisdom. She is one of the primordial goddesses. And I absolutely associate her with knowledge. So yeah, there's not just one cauldron. There's enough cauldrons to share. So yeah, yes, absolutely, the Kelech and knowledge. Yeah, nailed it. Jackie, the rain. I'm hating the rain. My daughter's horse got stuck in the mud yesterday. Oh no. Oh no, that's horrible. That's not, no. Okay, Rain, you can go do one now. Good morning, Damien. Julala. When I was at school, hedge riding would get us into trouble, especially when it was the hedges in the park. Literal hedge riding. Yeah, hedge riding's not quite that. Hedges were always boundaries. They are, whenever you look at fields, there's always hedges between the boundaries of the fields. That's kind of where the idea came from. They are liminal spaces. They are those in-between spaces, and you cross over that hedge into the other world. Think about the Labyrinth film, when all the goblins are in her house. They're all standing in the doorways. They're standing above the door or below the door frames. Because it's a liminal space. You can hedge ride in all sorts of liminal spaces physically. The ocean, where the water meets the beach, where the water meets the sand or the stones, that's a liminal space. There are liminal times, dusk, dawn, the in-between times. Very, very magical. Colin's doing online ritual for the equinox. The online stuff, very useful, very useful. Debbie, coincidentally, I saw a bat early as of this morning, couldn't sleep. Oh, nice to see a bat, though. They're amazing creatures. Good morning, Victoria. Good morning, Hannah. I think it depends what we define as a spell. We all have different ideas of magic. Well, there is that, isn't it? Spells work on so many different levels. Spells can be just thoughts. They can be visualizations. They can be words. They can be just lighting a candle. It could be the full-on chucking everything at it. Herbs, oils, the whole shebang. Yeah, there are different levels of working magic. A lot of them could be classed as spells. Yeah, I guess it's how you see it. Eve, I've not lost the will, it's just the need. I do more healing spells for others, it seems, but you don't need to every day, week. Just do when needed. Yeah. I say I haven't done one for a while because I haven't needed to. Yeah, I think as well, we do kind of, if you are studying witchcraft and if you are working with witchcraft, you're always studying it because we're always learning. There are always new things to try and different areas to work with. And I think it's an ebb and flow. We go through phases where we work with different areas of the craft. It might be that spells aren't the thing at the moment and that you're working with something else, spirit work or meditation or whatever it might be. It'll come back when it needs to. Jackie, lost the way to energy, etc. was not good and I was burnt out. Yep. So just not doing anything much except lighting candles and reading witchy stuff. I'll wake up again as soon as I heal myself. We all lose connection at some point. It happens. And it happens to all of us. And yeah, taking a bit of a step back and not worrying about it is probably the best thing to do. It will fall back into place when you're ready. Sephora, it's autumn for Sephora, so full on harvest time here, bottling jam, chutneys, etc. Yum. Victoria, I'm feeling all over the place, finding it hard to keep my practice. Again, it does happen to all of us. I'm writing a book about that too. The next book that I'm writing is about daily practice. And it was prompted by me losing my connection when we were having the house renovation done, because everything was so chaotic and upside down and all of my stuff was packed away. I lost my connection completely. So I'm writing it to kind of prompt to bring everything back into line. But we do all lose connection. There is a blog on my blog. There is a blog post on my blog about losing your connection, and it gives some prompts and some ideas to reconnect. So do have a look at that. Some of it is simple, and as Jackie says, some of it is just about taking time out. It is okay to step back and just be for a while, and then take baby steps to bring yourself back. It doesn't have to be full on the whole time. Baby steps. Yeah, it's about, sometimes you do need to have a bit of space. But have a look at the blog post. It is about losing your connection, and it gives some prompts to bring you back. Jane, I've really enjoyed doing the spells required for the Kitchen Witch School coursework, but I think it was lockdown that triggered the disconnect for me. Yeah, I think it did for a lot of people. Come back to my tribe big time, but seem to be doing everything but magic. More leaning towards otherworldly stuff these days. So I'm looking forward to your book on hedge riding. Can it be pre-ordered yet? Not yet. I will let you know. It's being edited at the moment. And I think that is, lockdown was a big issue for so many reasons. But it did. A lot of people lost their connection because it was such a different situation, I think, that we'd not experienced before. And I think there are times when you do go down slightly different pathways. Your spiritual journey doesn't go like that. Your spiritual journey goes like that. Well, mine has anyway. And I've been down all sorts of different trouser legs, to coin a chiropractic phrase. And it's okay, because you'll learn something new from it, and nothing stays the same, and witchcraft doesn't stay the same either. It is fluid. Things that I did 20 years ago, 25, 30 years ago, I don't do now, and vice versa. It changes. It is very fluid. Another exciting announcement actually is the Moonbooks are celebrating 10 years of the Pagan Portals series, and what they're doing is taking some of the bestsellers and putting them together, 2 Pagan Portals in a book, in a hardback, and making it a special edition magical collector's edition. And mine's the first one to come out, and it's due to be published 31st of May, and it's got Kitchen Witchcraft and Moon Magic, the 2 Pagan Portals books, together in a hardback special edition, which is very exciting. But I had to reread through the manuscript. Now, bear in mind that Kitchen Witchcraft was the first book I wrote in 2012, so some considerable time ago now. It was bizarre reading how I worked magic then, because it's quite different. There are things that if I went back and wrote that book now, it would be completely different. I'm not saying it's wrong, because it's not, but it's I work slightly differently now. There's quite a lot of structure to it, and I'm a bit more free flowing now. But it was really interesting going back and reading it all, and that's my pathway and how much that's changed in the last 10 years, 11 years. 12 years now. Wow. So it all does, and it all ebbs and flows. It's nothing to worry about. I think it's just you're going in a slightly different pathway. It might be that you're on that different pathway for a short while. You might come back to the old pathway. You might end up in a completely direction. Don't worry about it. Go with the flow. Definitely go with the flow. Witchcraft is not static. It is definitely fluid. Debbie, I think January, February are flat months, less energy. Yeah, absolutely. Less inclined to do spell work. Yeah, maybe a seasonal thing. From March onwards, and as the sap rises, so does the energies. More spring in your step. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. January is a hibernation month for sure. February's kind of peeking your head out from under the duvet. March is when you kind of think, yeah, I might step outside. Good morning, Willow Moon. Good morning, Candy. Willow Moon, hedges in between spaces but filled with herbs and medicinal herbs, also scratchy hawthorn and blackthorn. The hedgerow is full of magical herbs. The physical hedgerow absolutely full of magical herbs. But yeah, it's a liminal space. But hedge riding, you're away from the physical and into the other world. It's fascinating to do. Jalala, I love bats. We have hundreds here in the garden in the summer. They often give me a fantastic aerial display when I'm in the grove meditating. Amazing. Yeah, it's we went to France a few times, and the house that we stayed in, every evening the bats would come out. It was like having a whole air show of bats. Fantastic. Steve, spring equinox is a good time for me to balance my emotions and thoughts and focus on what I want to bring forward into my life and to grow it over the spring and the summer. Perfect. Yep, sums it up. Absolutely perfect. Damien, are there any magical tools that help in hedge riding? The hedge witch is really about nature and not using lots of magical tools. However, actually, the bits I want are all downstairs. I use a stang for hedge riding. You can use a staff. You can use a besom. I use the stang, and it provides a focal point for treading the mill, which is literally, think of a donkey going around a mill. It's literally going round and round with the stang in the centre. It's a very good way of taking yourself into trance and off into hedge riding. It's all in the book. So I do use a stang, and I do have a journey pouch or a journey bag. I don't just use it for hedge riding. I use it for journeying in general. But I have, it's a fat quarter. It's a square piece of fabric, and I have things inside it that help me and represent the hedge riding and the journeying. I have representations of spirit guides, animal spirit guides. I have crystals and herbs that all correspond to hedge riding, to the other world. I have representations of deity in there, just little bits and pieces, but it is my journey pouch. So when I'm finished with it, I fold the material up and it gets tied up in a bundle. When I'm ready to journey, I open it all out. And again, that's fluid. Sometimes I'll open it out and think that doesn't need to be in there anymore, but I need to add that. So those are really my two things, is a stang and a journey pouch. You can use crystals and herbs and other things. I don't use any, a wand wouldn't really be needed. Cauldron you might use if you want to burn some incense. There are specific incense blends that you can work with to help set the atmosphere and to replace flying ointment, which was a very key thing to hedge riding originally, but very dangerous because the original flying ointments had some really strong nasties in them. I replaced that with essential oils or incense. But tools, I would say the stang and the journey pouch are really the main ones that I use. It's all in the book, all in detail. Willow Moon, did a spell just before, needed a utility bill and couldn't find it. Sat down in a different chair and it was right next to me. Have you noticed when you say it out loud, things turn up? For finding things, I quite often use the pendulum. Is it in the front room? Is it in the kitchen? That's for me. But yes, but that's spell work, isn't it? Words have power. We use words as chants. We use words to crawl in the quarters. We use words to boost our spells. So words have power. So just saying things out loud can make a difference. If I want a parking space, I do a little parking spell, say it out loud. It works. Good morning, Kelly. Now, that's a good point, Jane. Yes, it's clicked with me that I need healing before I can feel strong enough to heal, which is where I'd like my magic to be. Yes, you cannot. And I know how my husband's going to be pulling a face and the girls are pulling a face. You cannot run on empty. You cannot heal or help others if that's the situation that you're at. You have to work on yourself first before you can move forward. And I'm very bad at that. I am very bad at that. There's a link to the blog. Thank you very much. Sephora, I think you guys just need to sit back and enjoy the magic of spring. The weather, the longer days. She's very magical, this world of ours. We will when the rain stops. Because at the moment, that's all it is. Claire, working with us can actually, now that's an interesting point. I did a recording for the Pagan Portal podcast yesterday with the lovely Taryn S. She is a force of nature. And one of the things that came up there was the internet and connecting via the internet and social media, which is, we're using that now. Wouldn't be here without it. But also how different it is sitting with a group of people, working magic, talking about magic, performing rituals, and how different those two are. And I think we lost a lot of that with lockdown. There were lots of groups. We used to do open rituals in person before then. Not all of them have come back. And I think because the internet, we can reach so many people, and it is such a strong connection for so many people. But there is quite a big difference between working online and working face-to-face with people. If you are able to get out, it is a very different experience. Yeah, absolutely. I've lost the whole train now. Okay. I got diagnosed with congestive heart failure. It took the wind out of me and I fell away from my magic, but I'm coming back and starting to get involved again and remembering how much I love it. Good for you, Candy. Positive energy coming your way too. Little Miss Nemo, hadn't seen it. Yeah, we were a bit late putting the things up this morning. Apologies for that. Unless I tell you otherwise, there will always be a weekly chat. Heather's Ogham Post. Yes, do have a look on the Kitchen Witch YouTube channel. Heather's been doing some daily Ogham posts, which are brilliant. Charlie, feeling very wintry, only little signs of spring. Even watching your winter videos past few days, confused. If I did a winter ritual, would that make things out of sync, attract the wrong energy? Well, we're still in it a bit. The Kalak's still there. She's still hanging on. Trust your intuition on that one, Charlie. It won't let you down. Do what you feel you need to do. Oh, there's a link to the Moonbooks hardback magical collector's edition. Thank you. Victoria, I have been working my new allotment and setting my intentions for the spring in the coming months. Looking at the seed catalogues and all the plant catalogues. Yeah. Damien, I lost my connection recently, so I went back to where it all began, which was working with the moon. Your book, Beneath the Moon, has helped a lot of reconnecting. Thank you. Oh, it's up there. Yeah, back to basics is always a good idea as well. Like real basics, working with the moon, but also going right back to where you started. If you keep a journal, go back and read your first few journal entries. If you learnt from books, go back and have a flick through the first book you ever read on witchcraft. Mine was To Ride a Silver Broomstick. Yeah, going backwards can sometimes help you go forwards, if that makes sense. Brilliant. Thank you. I'm glad it was useful. Willow Moon. Mara Starling said her first book would have been written differently. Now, as you move and perspective change as you go along, book is a snapshot of a moment. Yes, absolutely. Little Miss Nemo. It's definitely milder now, and all the daffs are out. It's all going to kick off suddenly. Yeah, it'll be like switching a light on, won't it? It'll be just one flick of the switch, and spring will be here. Emma, my pathway seems to be taking a quick, sharp turn from one place to another. Can be a lot to take in. Yes, sometimes it can be a bit of a roller coaster ride, and you do feel like you're hanging on for dear life. Hang on in there. Hang on in there. Yeah, we're all jealous of Jalala's bats. Yeah, I love bats. Karen's waiting to see the bats at work come out, and Candy loves bats. Yeah, they are amazing creatures. Amazing creatures. Angela, lost our connection in 2018 when Peter was poorly. That's her husband. Died on the operating table. Wow, but I was the one who had the near-death experience at that exact moment in time. It's fine now, by the way. It's only been in the last 6 months or so that we started to reconnect, but our practice is very, very different now. It's a big old experience. I can't even begin to imagine that. But yeah, big experiences do change the way we think, and they change the way that we look at the world, really. My husband's laughing at me, and Ness is laughing at me too. Yeah, thanks for that. Yes, I'm rubbish at self-care, okay? Good morning, Louise. Totally lost my connection and way over the last few months. I'll pop a link to the blog post that I put up because it has got some pointers. But Damien reminds us, go back to the beginning, go back to stuff that you're familiar with. The basics that you started with is always a good idea. And I find for me, clearing my altar is one of the first things I do when I've lost the connection. I clear, cleanse, and just literally take everything off my altar and altars and clean it all. Sometimes I even, particularly in months like January, I leave the altar bare for a while, for a few days, and then slowly add things back. It's baby steps. Take tiny steps. You don't need to leap straight back into it all. Kelly, I think we all have moments that we feel distance from our craft. I felt guilty about losing my connection in the past, but sometimes life gets in the way. Yes, it does, but we always find our way back. It does. Sometimes life takes precedence. I mean, I'm a witch. I'm always a witch. It doesn't separate from what I do every day, but sometimes other things do take priority. It happens. Willow Moon. Kaylach is in the shadow of the sunshine. I feel the ice. She's clinging on. She's digging her claws in because she doesn't want to go yet. Louise, seeds off to my allotment after this to serve you what's left of my greenhouse after winter. We keep trying to get out to our greenhouse and clean it out so that we can plant some seeds, but it's so wet out there. Jane, it was so nice to be face to face before lockdown, then it all died. Not enough has come back. So much nicer to make a talk or workshop a little trip out rather than just looking at the screen in the same old space. I think we've spoken about this before, haven't we? It is difficult, and they are two different things. There are different energies to both of them, but the online stuff does open it up to more people. And I think as a business in particular, you've got to do whatever you can to keep the money rolling in. Retail and businesses of all kinds are struggling, really struggling at the moment. So if you can offer online stuff, you are opening up to more customers. That's the baseline of it, really. It's sad but true. But yes, there are a few that are coming back, and I have heard a few people now that hadn't come back to the face-to-face that are. So it'll hopefully hit a balance at some point. It's got to be open to everyone, I think, hasn't it? And different people like different things. So yeah, getting the balance. Candy, just pre-ordered your Dragon Magic book. I work with dragons. Can't wait for this book to come out. Oh, that's something I forgot to mention. So I've decided to do something a little bit different with the Dragon Magic book launch. It's bigger and better and more chocolatey. Without the chocolate. I'm going to do a book launch in June. I want to say the 22nd of June. I think that's the date. I'm going to do a 2.5-hour online workshop. Free, open to everyone. I'll do a talk about Dragon Magic. the girls from the Kitchen Witch team are going to join me, Heather, Ness and Sue, and we're going to do a dragon ritual that's in the book. We'll do the dragon ritual online, and then we'll do a little bit of a workshop about connecting with dragons and how to work with dragons. So it'll be about 2.5 hours online, streaming live, free, open to everyone. So a little bit different, but something a little bit more, hopefully, that people will enjoy. So the details of it are on my website. Love dragons are my big thing. Sephora, our spring didn't start here until the equinox, so hang in there, the rain will stop, gardens will bloom, and soon you'll be peeling off the layers. Yeah, maybe. It's Britain after all. Elizabeth lost the link. Yeah, stress causes losing the links too. It is life. Sometimes stuff happens and it can be really overwhelming with the mundane everyday stuff, and I think that makes us forget that we've got this magical toolbox. I do the same. I am really bad at self-care, and I forget that I've got this magical toolbox that I can draw upon to help bring myself back. But stress is a bad one for it. But it's about that I think realizing that you've lost your connection is perhaps the first step. That realization that it's not there anymore. And that's when you can very slowly and very gently start making your way back. Jane, that's funny. I dug out my first Book of Shadows last night and read some of it. None of the posts were dated, so it's hard to track what happened when. Does remind me of how I started out, though. It was all spells and bonfires. That sounds good. Yeah, I think it is important sometimes to look back, to go back over things to where it all began. It's interesting. It's all part of your journey, isn't it? Jackie, when I lost my connection, I went back. I cleared my altar of everything. Then I put my wooden Indian on it. That's all. That's where it all started with me. Perfect. And that's beginnings, isn't it? They were beginnings a long time ago, but there's nothing to say that they can't reignite, because that's where it all started. Perfect. Jane, going online might open up to more customers, but it closes down a few old faithful as well. It's about getting that balance, I think, isn't it? If companies need to go online to keep their doors open, then it's got to be a good thing, hasn't it? But it's about getting the balance, isn't it? Jackie, can't wait for the Dragon Magic book. It's a pagan portal, so it's only an introduction. At some point I might write a bigger one, but I've got lots of things on the writing list in a minute. Karen, the online stuff has been invaluable for me. Face-to-face is good, but online has been amazing. Long may it continue. I think the lockdown in particular opened up a whole other world with all the online stuff, and it has its place. Absolutely. Dragon stuff. Cool dragon stuff. Yeah, I love dragons. Jalala, this won't work for most people, but for people who can't get out, there are also virtual worlds that can be more immersive than online video and Zoom meetings. Second Life, for example, has covens and groups that meet in world. It's a lifeline for many disabled people and those who can't get into the real world for whatever reason. It was actually one of the reasons why we continued as Kitchen Witch with online rituals, because we had so many people contact us and say, please keep doing them after lockdown, because we can't get out, because we're housebound, because we're disabled, because whatever. And that's why we did, and that's why we've continued doing them. And all the time people rock up to them, we will carry on doing them too. Angela, I miss the in real life meetups. Moving to rural France didn't help, but then lockdown put paid to what little we had, and the groups haven't restarted. We tried to start our own, but it didn't take off. Perhaps wrong time, wrong place. I think that plays an important part as well. Sometimes it isn't quite the right time or the right scenario. We're slowly getting back. The girls and I are slowly starting to get out and about more as well. We're doing more events and things. But for me in particular, sometimes the in-person events are so far away, and it's a lot of driving and a lot of cost for petrol, for hotels, for food and everything while you're there. So again, it's about balance, about getting that balance, about cost of it all as well, and time. You know, it's exhausting doing some of the stuff. Balance, all about balance. Debbie, yes, it is lovely to meet in person, but for those more solitary in their practice and those not able to get out and about, online talks are a lifeline and a gift from the gods, goddesses. Yeah, it is. It's balance, isn't it? It is about what works for some isn't going to work for others. So it is about making sure that, as everything, I say everything's covered and everyone's happy. You're never going to please everyone. That's something that it took me quite a long time to learn. You are never going to please all of the people all of the time. It's not possible. So it is about doing what works for you and about trying to get that balance. And when I say balance, I don't mean equal balance either. You know, balance has to work for you. So it might be heavily weighted on more on one side than the other. As long as it's a nice balance for you, it's all good. Elizabeth hasn't done your lessons for 2 years now. There's no hurry. Good morning, Angela. Sephora, what's a favorite smell that's magical? Cinnamon, vanilla. What's a dragon smell? Now, that's an interesting question. Favorite magical smell? Okay, the smell that makes me think of Glastonbury, it's in all the shops and makes me think of magic, is frankincense. Bit of Palo Santo as well. It's the smell when you go into a witchcraft shop. It's that incensey smell, bit of sandalwood in there as well. That makes me think of magic. Absolutely. Dragon smell. Well, I have included some scents. Dragons. I've got my legs crossed and I can't uncross my legs around. I have got some incenses in. I mean, dragon's blood. It's obviously not dragon's blood. I would not be promoting dragon's blood if it was actually that. It is a resin. See, there's a lot in here. I've got to look through it. Dragon incense 16. It was fascinating writing this book. I went down all sorts of rabbit holes with it. Dragon's blood, mugwort, patchouli, star anise, cinnamon, coffee. Dragons like the smell of coffee. Frankincense, cardamom, geranium, all sorts. I don't know. What do you think a dragon smells like? I guess is the question. But I'm assuming we mean, what do dragons like the smell of? So, yeah, I would say dragon's blood has got to be the main one. But it would depend on what type of dragon they are as well. But magical smell for me, yeah, that kind of frankincense, sandalwood type smell. Angela, love watching hiking and wild camping YouTube to get out in nature when I'm stuck doing the office job. That's my kind of camping, watching it from the comfort of my armchair. I approve of that type of camping. Actually, I think the YouTube is brilliant for that, isn't it? You can take yourself off to other worlds, to other places, to other lands through your screen, which is brilliant. Emma, don't have anyone nearby that would trust to work with magically. That's another point as well. Also, as an agoraphobic, it's hard to leave the house. Online is my only place to meet like-minded and mostly lovely people. Well, that's brilliant. But I have been to pagan groups and felt very unwelcome. I've been to pagan groups and felt very welcomed. You've got to trust your intuition on this one. If it feels hinky, leave. It's about finding the right place as well, isn't it? Kelly, living in the northeast of England, there's not a lot near me. Gutted Witchfest Midlands not on this year, as the one in Croydon is a bit too far. Staffordshire Pagan Conference, Kelly. That's up in that area. I will be there this year. Lovely, run by lovely, lovely people. There is a link on my website. Yeah, Staffordshire Pagan Conference. Brilliant. There are lots of other things on as well. Pagan Tribal Gathering is a camping one that's on up in that sort of area. It's about finding these things as well, isn't it? It's about finding what's happening. Sephora, who is the goddess of the internet? Now there's an interesting question. Goddess of internet, goddess of technology. I don't know. Anyone got any ideas on that one? Goddess of the internet. Got to be one that's aligned to it, hasn't there? Willow Moon. Love online courses as my home is my magical space where I work best. Love bringing the magic into my home. Yeah, my home is my sanctuary. It is my magical sanctuary. Dragons probably burning sulfur. Not the nicest smell. Jalala, that's really bad. I know what snowmen smell. Carrots. That's such a dad joke. Candy, I use dragon's blood incense all the time. As a matter of fact, burn in my kitchen right now. I love it. It's fantastic scent. Nita, in my Sabbath gathers, I also use an online platform as well, as some members live a long way away, as they've either moved or they've... Yes, it is. It's good to have the option, isn't it? Steve, dragon smell of soot. Mine doesn't, but I get your point. Jane, the smell of magic for me is the waft when I open my box of essential oils. Yes, no matter what most motley mix is in there, that smell hasn't changed since I started out in the 90s. I love it. Frankincense reminds me of my first ever spell when I burned it in oil burner. Yeah, frankincense is one of my favorites. This is like, my husband loves aftershave, and he's got a box with all his little bottles of aftershave in, and every morning he opens the lid and I hear him go. It's the waft of the aftershave. So yeah, scent. We've talked about using your senses before, and scent in particular is one that really evokes feelings and emotions and memories of things. Angela, even going to a witchy shop was enough connection for me, but most closed down during lockdown and didn't reopen because it was so tough getting through it. And there's a lot of retailers that are still struggling. Being so rural, there weren't many near me anyway, but I'd have to travel back to the UK for a fix now. A bit too far expensive for a jolly day out. A little bit. Yeah, retail's very tough. Charlie, sometimes where people live, there aren't any or much witchy pagan things, events. No, there's not down the south here. We're a bit sparse on them. So online helps you feel connected, part of community. Really helps me and appreciated, but in person is fab. Yeah, they're different experiences, aren't they? They are different experiences. Debbie, cedarwood, sandalwood, dragon's blood, frankincense, cinnamon bay, all deep, earthy, magical scents for me. I would agree with all of those, Debbie. Fantastic choice. Kelly, yes, do have a look at the Staffordshire Pagan Conference. There is a link on my events page, but they've got a Facebook group as well. Do have a look. Yeah, I shall be there this year giving a talk. Sephora, barbecue smells, dragon smell. It's a bit of a theme going on here. Peter, smalls are very evocative. For me, sherry smells of Christmas. Sherry, yes. Christmas Yule, chocolate of Easter, Ostara, and Nag Champa smells of magic. Yes, love Nag Champa. That's a classic magic smell, isn't it? Angela, vicarious living, love it. Do lots via the good old YouTube. Yeah, it can take you anywhere in the world, can't it? And even help you, video to know how to change a light bulb, and it is a wealth of knowledge. Jane, if there was a patron saint of the internet, it would be St. Clair of Assisi. She's in charge of TV and media. Well, there you go. Oh, there's a link to the Staffordshire Pagan Conference. Thank you. It's in October, 26th of October, Rose Theatre. Yes, link there. Debbie, online goddess would be connected to air. Bit of fire as well, maybe. Electricity needed in there. Yeah. Little Miss Nemo, god, goddess of interwebs. Automatically thought of Mercury, Hermes, god of communication. Yeah, I'll go with that one too. Yeah. Vintage, which got after Jackie. I think the cost of living and energy prices feed into a lot of live in-person events now, and it still seems that it's going up all the time. Sad but true. I wonder how many will survive. It is. You've got to look at, for me, even for me as a speaker on kind of the other side of it, if I'm giving a talk for an online event, I don't have to leave home. All it costs is my time to put the talk together and my time to give the talk. If I'm going to an event, something like that, sorry, there's a pigeon right outside the window playing in the gutter. What are you doing? I think he's having a bath in the gutter. Anyway, yeah, if I'm traveling to the Staffordshire Pagan Conference, it's a 3-hour drive from me. So I have to decide whether I want to drive for 3 hours, give a talk, and drive home for 3 hours. So a 6-hour round trip, or whether I want to stay over. Now, some events do offer to cover expenses and fees and all of that, which is brilliant, and they're lovely. They are one of them. But some places don't. And if it's one of the ones that doesn't, then I am seriously out of pocket if I decide to do it. That's a lot of petrol, that's a lot of time, that's a lot of hotel fees. So it has, there's a lot of cost involved. And if you are going to the event, there'll be the ticket price and the traveling and the food and drink while you're there, and whether you need to stay over or not. All of it figures into it, and it is a lot more expensive. Different experience, obviously, very different experience. And it's lovely to meet people in person. To meet some of you guys face to face is priceless, absolutely priceless. So yeah, you've got to weigh it up, haven't you? You have got to weigh it up. Everyone is skint. A lot of online businesses are suffering too. Yes, it's hard for everyone. It is hard for everyone. Emma, surely a deity of communication and or wisdom, although it's debatable. Yes, wisdom on the internet. Be a deity of the internet. Yeah, communication I think is quite a key one. Angela, I loved it when Witchfest was in Brighton. We hopped on the overnight ferry into Portsmouth, went to Witchfest, then hopped on the overnight ferry back. Brilliant. It was nice, but apparently the venue was incredibly expensive to hire. And also, I think the trains and things into Brighton weren't quite as straightforward as Croydon. That's why they went back to Croydon for a monetary point of view. It's balancing it again, isn't it? Miss Nemo, if you're sparse down south for events, practically bugger all up here in the north. No, it always seems that everything's, well, it's probably Midlands area. Everything's all in that, seems to be all in that sort of area. I think it's about finding them as well, isn't it? It's about discovering where these things are on. Jane, feel bad whinging about not enough live events. I'm lucky to have a monthly moot, a bus ride away, and belong to 2 lovely development circles. Some of the members overlap, so that helps to create a sense of community. We're not going to judge you, Jane. Everyone's different. Everyone wants slightly different things. It is just about hitting that balance, isn't it? Little Miss Nemo, evocative smells, or as you said, smalls. That's different. I quite often say things incorrectly. Yule and citrus zest for me. Oh yes, orange Christmas. As I stir the Christmas pud, gets me every time. Love Christmas puddings. Oh, my stomach's rumbling now. Jalala, see, living here in my magical paradise, it would take a lot of persuasion now for me to travel somewhere for something. My source is here. See, different for every person, different scenarios, different requirements, different. Yeah, it is about, making it work for everyone. Jane, and there must be lots of us all over the country who'd be willing to put you up in their places when you travel. You need to start a dossing list. Thank you. No, I am traveling a bit. So I'm doing the Staffordshire Pagan Conference. I will be up there, run by very lovely people. I'm at the Pagan Tribal Gathering with the girls. That is a fantastic event. Again, about a 3-hour drive, but fabulous camping event. I'm not camping, I'm in a B&B. But we will have a stall there as well. So it is about fitting things in and balancing traveling and doing some traveling and doing some in-person things and doing online things, and getting that balance between it all, really. Yeah. Willow Moon. Yes, looking forward to seeing it. Wirral Pathways Festival. Online, do have a look for the Wirral Pathways Festival. There is a link on my events page. There is a Facebook page for it as well. Just do a little search. I'm doing a pre-recorded presentation because I'm going to be on holiday when it goes live. Set the festival up due to lockdown, continued ever since. Yes, looking forward to doing that one. So look out for that information on my website, information on Facebook. Smalls and smells. Smalls are underwear, aren't they? Yeah, smells is something different. Sephora, with you, Jalala. I'm in my magical haven already. Yeah, I mean, my house, my home, my garden, all my sanctuary. And I do work magic here and right here, and families here. My children were born here. My home is my sanctuary. Yeah, it is, absolutely. It is my special place. You quite often when people say, oh, what's your favorite magical place to visit, expecting me to say Stonehenge, Glastonbury, whatever, it's my house. It is my sacred space, absolutely. Not that I don't love going to visit those places, obviously. Debbie, there should be a nationwide go-to website for information on all events throughout the year. Have a look. There are some Facebook groups, Pagan Events UK and things like that, that do publicize all of the events. Yeah, do have a look. It's Googling or Facebooking, isn't it, for events, to look for them. Angela, yes, not sure I would do it now. I love the world we have created here at home. Having someone else to have a witchy natter with in person over a coffee occasionally would be lovely. It is a different experience. It is a different experience. Thank you for the office of putting me and the girls up. Seriously, you wouldn't know what you were letting yourself in for. Sephora, can we do a talk about house spirits and what we can do to support them? We can, absolutely. I will jot that down, Sephora. So lots of stuff talked about today. Thank you so much for joining me, everyone. It is this weekly talk was my connection during lockdown, and it continues to be my lockdown. See, it's not a good day today, is it? And I've got to record another podcast today as well. I need to get the words out. Start that again. This weekly chat is my connection. It's my connection to you guys. It's a way of interacting with people, like-minded people. And I am incredibly thankful and grateful for that. But I am also looking forward to seeing some of you guys face to face. Different experiences. Kerry says Google Pagan Village for events. Okay, thank you. Yeah, the hour's gone already. Fresh air and green space is important to a lot of witches, Jane. It is, absolutely. Sephora, thought you had a podcast outfit on. The nails are a giveaway. I painted my nails for MoonCon the weekend. I don't very often paint them because I do a lot of cooking and stuff, and nails is not good for that. I had my nails painted for MoonCon. If you missed it at the weekend, do catch up. It was epic. It was absolutely epic. So thank you to everyone for joining me today, particularly when I didn't actually have a theme and had no idea what we were going to talk about. I can always rely on you guys to prompt me. So thank you for that. And thank you for just being there, really. Thank you for being and building the community. It's fantastic. So all of the events, have a look on the Kitchen Witch website and on my own personal website on the events pages. Kitchen Witch ritual, online ritual this weekend. Do have a look. It'd be lovely if you could join us. We always have a laugh. Otherwise, I will see you all next week. Take care, everyone, and have a good rest of the week.